Hi, I'm Daniel Gilbert, Chief Operating Officer at Kite Technology Group. Now, I'm a new dad, so obviously every chance I get, I like to tell stories about my son who is having his first birthday this month. From the time I get off work to the time he goes to bed, I like to get in all the playtime that I can have because he is just a blast. We play with trucks, we read books, we do puzzles together, we play in the ball pit, stuffed animals, the list goes on. And then it's bedtime. Now, I'm not usually in charge of bedtime. I'm in charge of cleaning up. So while his mother is putting him to bed, I go out into the living room to tidy up. And the living room is destroyed. Toy boxes flipped over, furniture out of place, plastic balls all over the floor. And I can't help but think, who made all this mess? Because it certainly wasn't me. And it didn't seem so messy when we were playing with it. We were having a lot of fun. And when I look across the room, still, I see a giant mess. It looks like the scene of a crime. So why did I open with that story? Because I think web browsing can feel very much the same way. Maybe you're working on a project and you're browsing to multiple different websites, getting different pieces of information in different forms of media. And it can be hard to keep track of. And after a short time, you can look back and feel overwhelmed with all the directions that you've gone in and all the windows you have open. You think, I've been sitting here working on this project for hours, doing good work all along the way and finding good information. But when I look back, it still looks like a big mess. Has that ever happened to you? So I want to show you two features in Microsoft Edge that I believe can help you stay organized and avoid feeling like your web browser is just one big messy living room. The first feature is called vertical tabs. In your web browser, you may have your tabs across the top of the screen like I have here. And that's the default setting. But there's another setting called vertical tabs that allows you to show those websites on the left side of the screen instead. So to access vertical tabs, you go to the top left of your screen to this icon, click that, then click turn on vertical tabs, and it shows on the left side of the screen. So this goes all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and you can see if you had several windows open, you could show them here and it'd be a little bit easier to navigate with so many different websites open. But I'm going to take that a step further, and I'm going to add what's called a tab group. So on my Google website, I right click, I click add to new group, and I'm going to call this popular websites. So you can see it created a header that now has under it my Google website. And I'm going to do the same for each one of these other groups, or sorry, each one of these other tabs. So I right click, add tab to group, and popular websites. Once more, right click, add tab to group. I could start a new group there if I wanted to, but again, I'm just going to stick to popular websites. So now they're all grouped together. You can have multiple tab groups, and they would just show here on the left. If you have multiple monitors, and you typically have a browser window on multiple different monitors, each monitor will show only the tab groups that are open on that monitor. So if I had another screen here, it helps me keep them organized because the popular websites tab group is open on my left screen, and maybe my right screen has another tab group with other related websites on it. The second feature is called collections. With collections, you can take different kinds of information like websites, text, and images, and you can store them in one place. So I like to think of collections as kind of a scrapbook in Microsoft Edge that lets you take different pieces of different kinds of information and kind of clump them together in one place. So to show collections, I'm going to go to the top right of the screen to click on the three dots for the settings. and I'm going to go down to collections. And if you want, you can right click on collections and say show in toolbar, and it will show it right up here in the toolbar. So in the collections menu, you can see I already have a collection that I've started here, but I'm going to start a new collection, and I'm going to call it popular websites. From there, I can start putting stuff inside my collection. So I'm going to add the current web page. I'm on Google right now. So if I click add current page, it will add Google, and I've got my collection started. Then I'm going to add the other pages that we have open too. So I click on that website, click the collections menu again. Notice I'm still in the popular websites collection that I created, and I add current page. And one more time for our last website here, collections menu, add current page. And if you go back here, it brings you to the top of the collections menu where you can see all the collections that you have. But I'm not done with my popular websites menu, because maybe I want to put other kinds of information in there. Maybe I want to take a screenshot. So if I'm going to do that, I need to click on the settings menu again and go down to do a web capture. And if I click web capture, it gives me a way to click and drag to take a portion of the screen. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take this logo here, and I'm going to click markup capture. And then I get the option up here to add to collections. So I'm just taking that one screenshot and I'm adding it to collections, and then I'll choose my popular websites collection. You can start a new collection that way too, but again, I'm just going to stick to my popular websites collection. Okay, and then I can close this and show you that now it shows up here. This is just a screenshot of the Kite Tech logo in the form of an image. You can also add notes. So I'm going to add a note, and maybe we want this note to be kind of a separator. So I'm going to turn it into a header. I'm going to bold and underline, and I'm going to say logos. Then you can reorder the items in your collection by just clicking and dragging. So I'm going to drag logos above. That way I've got my websites up top and my logos down below. And if that's not clear, maybe I add another note where I create another header that says websites. Drag it all the way up to the top. So now I know here's my websites, and if I scroll down, there's my logos. Okay, so we've seen two features, vertical tabs and collections. And now I want to show you a few more tips about how you can use those features together to get the most out of them. So I'm back here to the tab group that we created called Popular Websites. And if you remember, we added each one of these websites one by one to the collection that we created, also called Popular Websites. I'm going to demonstrate something else, and just so we don't get confused, I'm going to take this collection that we already created, and I'm going to rename it Popular Websites Old, just so we don't get confused with what I'm about to do. If I wanted to, and this would have saved me some time, is if I have a tab group, I can right-click the tab group that I have and choose Add Tab Group to a new collection. If I do that, it creates a new collection with the same name as the tab group that you just used. And if I click on this blue link here, it brings me into that new collection with all the websites that were under that tab group. So if I go back here, you can see the ones that were already there, plus this new collection that got created just now that mirrors the tab group that I used. Another way that you can combine these two features in a really useful way is if you do projects that take more than one sitting to complete. So you are doing some work and then putting it down for a period of time and coming back to it. Or maybe you have standard websites that you visit that you can group together into collections so that when you get back to your web browser, you can open up all those pages with the click of a button. So I'll demonstrate. In order to do that, I closed out all the rest of the websites I have open. So now I just have Google, but I can go to my collections and right-click on my popular websites collection and choose Open All. And you'll see that it opens all of those tabs under the header that I chose, Popular Websites. Now I have more than one Google page open, so I'm just going to close this one. And I'm down to my 3 popular websites that I started with. I'll show you this other collection that I created for the purpose of writing this article. I had some resources that I used, and I stored those resources inside of a collection called Microsoft Edge Article. So there's websites in here. If I right-click and choose Open All, it will open all of those websites that are all related in some way and needed for me to create this article and video. And now you can observe the 2 different tab groups open at the same time, maybe for 2 different subject areas that I'm working on. You can even collapse one if you want to hide the ones that are under there, just to make it easier to view. All right, so 2 features, vertical tabs and collections, and we've gone over a handful of ways that you could incorporate them into your workflows in order to have a better browsing experience. So hopefully these tips have helped. If you have any questions about anything you saw in this video or anything in Microsoft Edge in general, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.